just a moment. Do you feel that? The breath, the stillness, that gentle awareness behind your thoughts, that is you. Not the name the world gave you, not the roles you've played, not even the voice in your head that constantly chatters, doubts, questions, compares. No, my friend. That is not you. You were never human. You only believed you were, and that belief, innocent, necessary, even sacred, was the first step of your long journey home. When I was a young monk in the Himalayas, my teacher, an old man whose eyes held galaxies, once whispered to me, the moment you were born, you forgot your essence, and the world trained you to survive, not awaken. That stayed with me. And for many years, I lived like a shadow. I chased meaning in places it didn't exist. I tried to please others so I wouldn't be abandoned. I defined myself by achievements, by pain, by memories that weren't even truly mine. But there comes a moment, always, when the illusion begins to crack. For some, it begins with suffering, for others, with silence, and for a few, with remembering. Stage 1, the great forgetting. At the first stage, you incarnated as light into form. But as the soul entered the density of this earthly plane, something was lost, or so it seems. The veil of forgetfulness fell over your consciousness. You forgot your timeless nature. You forgot the stars you were born from. You forgot the oneness that birthed you. Instead, you became a name, a nationality, a gender, a religion, a label. And from that moment forward, everything you learned was built upon the illusion of separation. But do not grieve that forgetting. It is part of the plan, just as the seed must forget the tree to become one. So too must you forget your divinity to discover it anew, consciously. Stage 2, the false identity. This is the stage where the ego is born. The ego is not evil. It is a costume, a temporary mask. It is the tool the soul uses to navigate this reality. But most get lost in the mask. They think they are the character. They believe they are the role. And so, we chase approval, status, perfection, image. All the while the soul whispers, "This is not you." Let me share a story from my journey. I once met a man who wore golden robes and diamond rings. He sat on a golden throne and was revered by thousands. But when I looked into his eyes, I saw emptiness, not because he was evil, but because he had forgotten who he truly was. He told me, "I've gained the world, but I feel so far from myself." And I told him, "You are not far, you are only asleep." Tears welled in his eyes, not because of sadness, but because deep down, the soul always recognizes truth. Stage 3, this sacred longing. You feel it now, don't you? That itch in your soul, that silent craving for something more, not material, but eternal. This is the sacred longing. It shows up as depression, as restlessness, as questioning. Why am I here? What is the point of all this? Is this all there is? No, beloved one, this is not all there is. You are only beginning to awaken. Have you noticed? In moments of stillness, perhaps in nature or in the dark of night, you feel a quiet presence watching, waiting, whispering. That is the real you, calling you home. This longing is not a weakness. It is the map your soul encoded within you. And it will lead you through the fire, the dark, and eventually into the light. But first, you must unlearn everything the world taught you. Stage 4, the unlearning. They told you success was power. They told you love was something to earn. They told you you're not enough as you are, but those were lies spoken by unconscious minds. Unlearning is painful. It requires humility, honesty, courage. You begin to question what you've always accepted. You start to see the cracks in the illusion. You realize that much of your personality was never truly yours. It was borrowed, copied, installed, and so you let go of beliefs, of attachments, of expectations. One by one, the masks fall. And beneath it all, something ancient begins to emerge, something wordless, something real. I once sat in silence for 108 days. No speaking, no technology, just the breath and the present moment. And in that silence, I did not find answers. I found myself, not as a thought, not as an identity, but as awareness itself, still, spacious, eternal. That is who you are, we are. Only at the beginning, my friend. From Hue-Man to pure consciousness is not a climb. It is a remembrance. And every stage is sacred. Every wound is a doorway. Every experience is your teacher. Take this moment to breathe deeply. Close your eyes. If you haven't already, feel your heart beating. That rhythm is the sound of eternity, echoing through your temporary form. You are not here to be perfect. You are here to awaken. This was only the beginning, the first whispers of remembrance. The doorway has opened. And in the next page, we step deeper into the stages, into the void, into the fire, into freedom. We will explore the inner death, the dark night of the soul, and the silent guides who walk beside you in spirit. Until then, remember this, you were never human. You only believed you were, but now, you are remembering, you are returning, you are awakening. Welcome back, dear one, you returned, and that says something sacred about your soul. Many hear the call but turn away. They get frightened by the silence. They run from the unknown. But not you, you're still here, and that means a part of you is ready to remember what you truly are. In page 1, we crossed the threshold. We uncovered the first 4 stages from forgetting to unlearning. Now, we step deeper. Not away from the world, but into your true essence. Stage 5, the inner death. This is where most people turn back. Why? Because to become who you truly are, the old version of you must die. And that's terrifying, not because death is painful, but because identity clings, the ego doesn't want to die. It whispers, what will happen to me? It resists, clings, pleads, bargains. But let me tell you a truth that my teacher once whispered to me. Only that which is not real can die, and so, when the false self dissolves, what remains? Silence, stillness, truth. You don't become nothing, you become everything. There was a time in my own path where I felt like I was crumbling. The things I used to enjoy no longer brought joy. Friends felt distant. I couldn't relate to others. I felt hollow. I thought something was wrong with me, but in reality, something was right. I wasn't falling apart. I was falling away from who I was never meant to be. That is the inner death. It's not an end, it's a holy beginning. Stage 6. The dark night of the Sula. This one, I know it well. And so do you, even if you haven't named it yet. The dark night is a sacred initiation. It is not depression, it is not sadness, it is a divine dismantling of all illusions. You wake up in the middle of the night with tears and don't know why. You feel disconnected from everything, even from God, even from yourself. You beg for answers. But silence is all that comes, and that silence is not abandonment. It is purification. In the monastery, there was a year where I could not feel joy, not in meditation, not in prayer, not even in nature. The light I once knew had vanished. I felt like I had been cast into an endless void, but here's the secret I discovered. Friend, the void is not empty, it is full of the divine, stripping you of all that is false so that you may emerge reborn. If you're in that space now, feeling lost, disconnected, numb, listen closely. You are not broken. You are being rebuilt. The divine hasn't left you, the divine is preparing you. Stage 7, the Watchers awaken. When you begin to shed illusion and enter the void, something remarkable happens. The unseen world begins to notice. The Watchers, the guides, the ancestors, the angelic ones who have been quietly walking beside you your whole life. They are real, but they cannot interfere until your vibration rises enough to perceive them. And now, it is not through hallucination, not through fantasy, but through presence. You may begin to feel them in moments of stillness. A feather where there should be none, a whisper in your intuition. A sudden warmth that enters your room when you cry out for help. They are not here to save you. They are here to support you as you save yourself. I once spent 3 days in a cave, fasting and meditating. On the 3rd night, in the stillness, I felt a hand rest gently on my back. No one was there, at least not in the physical, but I knew, and tears fell freely. Not from fear, but from remembering that I had never been alone, and neither have you. You were never abandoned, only distracted. And now, you're starting to see again. Stage 8, the soul's blueprint activates. Know that the illusions are falling now that the soul is beginning to breathe again. Something ancient begins to awaken inside of you. Your purpose, but not in the way you think. Not a job, not a career, not a title. Your true purpose is simply this: to be what you already are completely. To live from your soul, not your survival. To embody presence, to radiate love, to speak truth, to walk gently, to remember God in you, around you, and through you. There is no competition on this path, no timeline, no comparison. Each soul has its own blueprint. Some are here to teach, some are here to heal, some are here simply to be. And their presence changes the world. Your soul knows. Trust it. The more you let go of trying to figure it all out, the more it reveals itself in divine timing. As we close this page of our journey, I invite you to breathe deeply. Feel the weight you've shed just in this moment. You've moved through death and rebirth, through the dark night and into light, through forgetting, into remembering. The stages are unfolding, not just in this video, but in your life and next. Here we will step into the final sacred stages, the embodiment of truth, the merging with oneness, and the return to pure consciousness, beyond name, beyond form, beyond thought. Are you ready? Then return for the next chapter. Subscribe now so you don't miss next step. Comment I trust my soul if this resonates with you deeply. Sit in stillness, even if just for 3 minutes. Before continuing, the next stage deserves your full presence. Welcome back. You are walking beautifully, and what's more, you're walking deliberately. So many rush from one thing to the next, desperate to escape themselves, but here you are, still present, open, not running from your truth, but walking into it. Let's continue. Next, here, we crossed through the fire. The false self cracked, and the soul began to shine through. Now, dear one, we step into the becoming. We move beyond glimpses and into full embodiment. Stage 9, the embodiment of truth. Many people talk about truth, but fewer embody it. Why? Because it's easy to say the right words, but to live them, that requires surrender. It's one thing to know that love is the answer. It's another to speak kindly to someone who has betrayed you. It's one thing to understand that you are consciousness itself. But it's another to sit peacefully in the face of chaos and still remain grounded. Embodiment means you no longer perform spirituality, you are it. It's no longer something you do, it's who you are becoming. I remember once, a villager came to me after losing his son. He cried, he screamed, he cursed at the sky, and after many hours, he looked up and asked me, why would God allow this? I did not give him a sermon. I did not quote scripture, I simply held his hand and said, I don't know why. But I do know you are not alone. In that moment, my presence was the truth, not my words, and that, my friend, is embodiment. It's when your energy teaches louder than your mouth, and that's where you are heading. You are becoming the message, not just the messenger. Stage 10, the merging of selves. This stage is mysterious to many, because here, the boundaries begin to blur. You no longer see a spiritual self and a normal self. You don't compartmentalize your peace, you bring it with you, into the kitchen, into the traffic, into the arguments, into the stillness. There's no separation anymore. You begin to notice the divine in every interaction, in the barista who forgets your order, in the silence between your thoughts, even in your own shadow when it tries to rise again. You don't fight the parts of you that used to feel unworthy, you merge with them, you love them. You become one. I had a young monk once ask me, Master, how do I kill my ego? I smiled and said, you don't, you embrace it. You don't kill the snake. You teach it to coil in your hands without biting. He frowned, confused, but years later he returned, wiser, gentler, and said, I no longer fight myself. I walk with every part of me as one. This is the merging. And you are closer than you think. Stage 11, service without self. When you embody truth, when you merge with your wholeness, something miraculous happens. You begin to serve others, not out of obligation, not out of spiritual pride, but out of overflow. You no longer try to help people. You can't help but help them because love radiates from you like sunlight. No reward needed, no audience required. You do good because good is what you are. In the monastery, we were once sent to care for an old woman who had no family. She had been bitter all her life. No visitors, no joy. Many avoided her, but one brother, soft-spoken and quiet, went to her every week. He listened. He smiled. He changed nothing and changed everything. One day, the woman looked at him and said, you're the first person who's looked at me without judgment. He hadn't preached, he hadn't taught, he had simply served without self. That is divine presence. That is love, untainted, and that's where you're heading. Stage 12, return to pure consciousness. Sure, we arrive, beloved, the final stage, but not a finish line. No, this is a beginning beyond all beginnings here. The identity dissolves, not in death, but in realization. You see clearly now, you were never the body, never the name, never the story. You are awareness. Presence. Silence. Light. You are the witness behind the eyes, the stillness between the breaths. You are the space in which the world appears and disappears and appears again, and in this space, there is no fear, no lack, no confusion, only isness, only peace. I once asked my teacher, what is the highest state? He looked into the distance and whispered, when there is no one left to ask the question, and now, I understand. When you become pure consciousness, you don't become better, you become no one. And therefore, everyone, you don't rise above the world. You sink so deeply into it that you become one with all life. This is your truth. This is what you've always been, and now, you're remembering. We have walked far today, you and I, but this is not the end. Because now that you've touched the infinite, you must learn how to carry it with you. Next, here, we will journey into living as consciousness in a chaotic world, how to stay grounded, how to navigate relationships, how to walk peacefully through storms. The next steps will anchor everything you've awakened. Subscribe now so you don't miss next step. Comment, I am consciousness if you felt the truth in these words. Reflect in silence for 5 minutes before moving forward. Let the light settle into your being. Welcome again, dear traveler. You've walked through the 12 stages, from illusion to light, from form to formlessness, from identity to infinite presence, and yet, now we arrive at the true work. Because it is one thing to touch consciousness and quite another to live as consciousness while standing in the chaos of the world. This is where many seekers stumble. They awaken on the mountaintop but forget how to walk in the marketplace without losing their peace. So today, we begin the path of embodied awakening. We bring the eternal into the ordinary. We bring the sacred into the shopping aisle, the traffic jam, the relationship struggle, the daily breath. Walking as consciousness in the world. Know that you know who you are. You must remember who you are everywhere. Not just in silence, not just on your cushion, not just under the stars, but in the tension of a business meeting, in the irritation of waiting, in the ache of heartbreak. The test is not whether you can sit in meditation for hours. The test is, can you bring that same stillness into your interactions? When someone raises their voice at you, can you feel the echo of space between their words? When the future feels uncertain, can you sit in the quiet trust of the present? When you are misunderstood, can you remain soft? This is not suppression. This is sovereignty. You are no longer a reaction. You are presence itself. I remember once walking through a crowded village. A man rushed by, bumping into me and shouting harshly. The younger me would have reacted, defended, corrected, protected my peace, but I simply stood still, not in weakness, but in powerful stillness. I bowed my head gently and said, "May you be free from your suffering." He stared, confused, and walked away. What I gave him was not submission, but reflection, a mirror of peace. And that mirror transformed us both. The invisible practice eat this stage. Your most powerful spiritual practice is invisible. You may not chant aloud. You may not wear robes, you may not explain your truth, but every room you enter feels lighter. Every person you meet feels heard. Every word you speak carries fewer hooks and more healing. You become unexplainable. People will say, there's something about you, and that something is no thing. You carry space, and space heals more than words ever could. There was a monk in our order who rarely spoke. He was quiet, simple, joyful, but the moment he entered a room, everything shifted. Children stopped crying. Arguments softened, tension disappeared, not because he tried, but because he was present. And that's your task now, my friend. Not to preach the truth, but to be so deeply aligned with it that others begin to remember themselves simply by being around you. Navigating relationships as pure awareness, this is perhaps the greatest challenge you've awakened. But the people around you, they may still be asleep. You may find yourself in conversations that drain you, dynamics that confuse you, or relationships that no longer feel aligned. So how do you navigate this with love, not arrogance? 3 words: compassion without attachment. You can love without clinging. You can support without rescuing. You can walk away without guilt. You do not need to force your light upon anyone. You only need to be it. Some will resist your calm. They're addicted to noise. Some will mock your peace. They misunderstand stillness as weakness. Some will leave. They fear what they do not yet understand. Let them go. Release them in love, bless them silently, because your path is not to convince others of their divinity, but to become such a pure reflection of it that they begin to wonder, what is that feeling I sense around you? And you smile, not answering. Because truth, dear soul, answers itself. Staying grounded through the storm. You may ask, but what if I forget again? You will. And that's okay. The journey back to presence is not a straight line, it's a spiral. Even the most enlightened minds have days of confusion. Even saints have shadows. The key is not to never fall, but to fall with awareness. To return quickly, lovingly, without shame. When you forget your truth, breathe. When fear whispers again, listen, then return to the stillness beneath. When the world feels heavy, sit down, close your eyes, and remember, I am the awareness of this heaviness. I am not the heaviness itself. In my own life, I've walked through many storms. There were days when I forgot who I was, when grief overtook me, when doubt whispered loudly. But in every one of those moments, I found refuge not in doing, but in being, not in solving, but in surrendering. You don't need to fix everything. You only need to return to the center of your being, that still, silent space where God lives, not outside of you, but as you. You were never human. You only wore humanity as a temporary garment. Now, the robe is falling away, and the light is shining through, but we are not done yet. In our next step, we will explore how to live in deep alignment with divine purpose, how to listen to the whispers of Source, how to walk with grace in every step, and how to manifest your reality as a conscious creator of peace and truth. This next chapter will be your integration, the living embodiment of consciousness in action. Subscribe so you don't miss next step. Comment, I am the living presence. If these truths stirred your heart, take 3 minutes in silence now. No music, no thoughts, just breath and being. Welcome back, dear one. You are walking deeper into the garden of yourself. And now, we begin the sacred transition from knowing to living, from awareness to alignment. This is the 5th unfolding of our journey. And today, we walk into the mystery of divine purpose. Let me tell you something few dare to say. Your purpose is not a job, a mission, or a role. It is not something you chase. It is not something you earn. Your purpose is what remains when you drop everything you think you are. It is not what you do, it is what you are. The silent purpose within. Long ago, when I first entered monastic life, I asked an old monk, Master, what is my purpose? He laughed gently and replied, the wind does not ask the tree if it is doing enough. The moon does not beg the sky to shine brighter, and yet, all of creation moves in perfect harmony. I didn't understand it then. But over time, his words became clear. You don't need to force your purpose. You only need to become so quiet inside that you begin to hear it whisper, you see. Your purpose is not hidden, it is drowned in noise, the noise of comparison. The noise of urgency, the noise of proving, earning, fixing, striving. But in stillness, when you return to your breath, when you rest inside your being, you begin to remember, I was never lost, I was only loud. Your purpose is presence. Every soul has a unique signature, like the scent of a flower, like the note in a song only you can sing. Some souls radiate healing. Some bring laughter, some break illusions, some build bridges, but none of these are better or worse. They are all instruments in the divine symphony. And the most powerful thing you can do for the world is to live as your true note, not a copy, not a role, not a performance, just your authentic presence, fully alive, fully here. There's a story I remember from the Himalayan caves. An old shepherd would come to the monastery every full moon. He never spoke of scripture. He had no formal education. But his silence, it carried such peace that even the birds quieted when he arrived. One day I asked him, why do you come here if you do not study? He smiled and replied, I am not here to learn, I am here to listen, and in that listening, I remember who I am. That man, in his humble stillness, served more souls than 1,000 teachers. His purpose was presence. So is yours. Aligning your outer life with your inner knowing, know that you've begun to remember who you are. The question becomes, are you living in alignment? Or an obligation? So many live by default, running scripts that were never theirs, climbing ladders that lean against the wrong wall, but a conscious soul lives by intention. Ask yourself now, does my daily life reflect my truth? Do I say yes when I really mean no? Am I living out of love or out of fear? You don't need to quit your job, sell your house, or disappear. You only need to begin living deliberately, deliberately speaking, deliberately resting, deliberately choosing. Because when your inner truth and your outer action walk hand in hand, that is when the divine flows through you effortlessly. Listening to the whispers of source. So many ask, how do I know if I'm on the right path? The answer is gentle. When you are aligned, there is a peace that goes beyond understanding. A lightness in your chest, a quiet yes inside your being. The ego seeks certainty. The soul listens for clarity, and clarity often comes as a whisper, not a shout. A knowing, not a conclusion, a pull, not a plan. So pause often, create space. And when you do, you will hear the divine say, right here, this is it, be with it fully. Let me give you a simple practice, one that changed my path forever. The sacred pause. Before you make a decision, before you speak, before you react, before you commit. Pause. Not to hesitate, but to listen. In that pause, ask gently, is this aligned with my highest truth? That moment of stillness will save you years of regret, because the soul always knows. We only need to give it space to speak. Do you see this stream? It never asks, where should I go? It simply flows, guided by gravity, shaped by the land. But it never forgets its source. You are the same. The current of divine life moves through you. Your work is not to control the flow, but to remove the rocks, the blocks, the noise. Then you flow naturally toward your soul's unfolding. You were never human. You are the stream, the current, the source, the stillness. Now, it's time to live as such. But we are only just beginning. Next, here we will explore the realm of energy, how thoughts, emotions, and environments shape your spiritual frequency, and how to raise your vibration to walk as a light in a dense world. It is not enough to know the truth. We must become the frequency of it. We must embody it in every cell, every breath, every interaction. So when you're ready, we'll continue. Subscribe now to receive next step. Comment, I align with purpose. If this chapter resonated with your soul, sit for 5 minutes today in silence. Ask nothing, just be and listen. Welcome once again, traveler of the soul. If you've walked with me this far, it means something inside you has begun to stir, a remembrance, a resonance, a return. You are no longer simply learning, you are becoming. In this sixth sacred unfolding, we enter the invisible realm, the realm of energy. Not the energy of calories or electricity, but the frequency of consciousness itself. This is the unseen language of the universe, and today, you will begin to hear it. Everything is energy, including nuance. I sat with a quantum physicist and a Tibetan Lama, two men from vastly different worlds, yet both said the same truth in different tongues. Everything is vibration. The physicist pointed to atoms, particles vibrating in empty space. The Lama pointed to the heart, emotions vibrating through silence, and I, sitting between them, smiled. Because what science is now discovering, mystics have always known, you are not solid. Your frequency, your vibration is your signature. Every thought you think, every emotion you hold, every word you speak, it carries a frequency. Anger has a vibration. Gratitude has a vibration. Guilt, shame, peace, thought, all measurable energies. Your baseline vibration is the invisible signal you send out into the world, and life, in turn, responds in resonance. This is not superstition, this is spiritual. Physics, you attract not what you want, but what you are. Let me share a story. In my first year as a monk, I struggled with deep restlessness. I had left the world behind, but inside, I was still loud. I meditated for hours. Yet my heart felt heavy. One day, I confessed to an elder monk, I do everything right, I meditate, chant, serve, and yet I feel no peace. He looked at me and said, you are doing the technique, but not adjusting the frequency. Then he placed a clay bowl in front of me, filled it with water, and struck a singing bowl beside it. As the bowl sang, the water began to ripple, dance, shimmer. He whispered, when you adjust your inner tone, your entire life responds like this water. Raising your frequency is spiritual. Alan Menzo. How do we raise our vibration? Not by pretending, not by faking positivity, but by becoming authentically aligned. Here are some sacred ways to raise your frequency. 1. Thought purity. Every thought plants a seed. Angry thoughts grow thorns. Grateful thoughts bloom like lotuses. Practice. Begin each day with 3 thoughts of gratitude, not out of obligation, but from presence. 2. Emotional cleanliness. Fill everything, but don't store everything. Release what isn't yours. Forgive not for them, but to lighten you. Practice. At night, scan your body for emotional tension. Breathe into it. Let it go like leaves on a stream. 3. Speech as sacred sound. Words shape worlds. Speak less, but speak with more intention. Practice. Before speaking, ask, is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? For environment as energy field, people, places, and media you allow in, they affect your vibration. Practice. Declutter not just your home, but your digital space, your relationships, your inputs. Choose resonance, not noise. Your energy speaks before you do. Let me ask you something. Have you ever walked into a room and felt the energy shift? Met someone and immediately felt calm or drained without a word spoken? That is vibration. Your energy introduces you before your name ever does, and the more aligned you are, the more peace you radiate. Even in silence, there is a reason ancient sages were silent. Their vibrations spoke volumes. Become a beacon of still light in a world drowning in chaos. Your peace becomes a revolution. You don't need to fix the world. You only need to stop vibrating at its frequency. Rise above it, not through escape, but through elevation. Like the lotus that grows through mud yet remains unstained, you too can remain soft-hearted and clear-minded even when surrounded by noise. Remember, your calm is a transmission. Your presence is a message. Your peace is an offering. This is the path of pure consciousness, not through effort, but through attunement. You were never just a human. You were a living frequency, an instrument in the divine orchestra. And now, you are learning to play your true note. We are reaching the turning point, the sacred midpoint between form and formlessness. Next, here, we will journey into the veil between dimensions. The stage where ego begins to dissolve, where time loses its grip, and where you begin to realize you were never born and you will never truly die. Let us prepare, for the veil is thin, and your soul is ready. If this touched your soul, subscribe and stay with me for next step. Comment I am energy below to affirm your vibration. Practice. Spend 10 minutes today without words, screens, or distraction. Feel your own frequency. You have done well to arrive here, for what comes next is not simply a teaching. It is a sacred unraveling. The 7th stage is not about adding more knowledge, but letting go of illusion. In truth, it is not enlightenment that's difficult, it is the undoing of what keeps us from it. Let us now enter the gate of ego dissolution, a place feared by many but embraced by the few who remember who they really are. Who is looking out from behind your eyes? As a child, I once stood before a mirror for nearly an hour. I wasn't brushing my teeth or fixing my robes, I was staring deep into my own eyes, and suddenly I felt something unnerving, a stillness, a watching presence behind my gaze, almost like I was being observed through myself. Back then, I didn't understand it, but now I do. That presence, that witness, is not the ego, it is the pure awareness that uses this human form. The ego is not who you are. It is merely the mask worn by the actor called consciousness. Ego is the smoke that blinds the inner light. Ego is subtle. It's not just arrogance, it's every story you cling to about me, mine, and I am. It says, I am my career, I am my heartbreak, I am my trauma, I am my titles, my opinions, my possessions. But what happens when all of that fades, when age withers your achievements, when time erases the applause? Who are you without your story? That's the sacred question of this stage. To dissolve the ego is to taste freedom. Remember a wandering hermit who visited our monastery once. He wore rags, owned nothing, spoke little. One day, I asked him, why did you renounce everything? He smiled and said, I didn't renounce it. I just realized it was never mine to begin with. He held up a pebble and said, the ego says, this is my pebble. But consciousness knows, I am the field the pebble rests upon. Can You feel the difference in that the ego is always grasping, consciousness is always allowing. Ego dissolution is a sacred Pareto dissolve. Ego does not mean to destroy the personality. It means to stop being possessed by it. When your identity loosens, you don't disappear. You become transparent. You become a clear window through which spirit can shine. This is why the mystics always laughed when praised. They knew the self being praised wasn't real. Only the divine within deserved the glory. A practice for ego dissolution. The watching practice. Find a quiet space today. Sit in stillness and begin to observe your thoughts like clouds passing in the sky. Now ask yourself, who is watching this? You are not the cloud. You are not the storm. You are the sky. Do this enough, and you'll begin to feel it, the distance between thought and observer, the silence underneath the noise. That silence is where the ego ends and consciousness begins. You were never the character. You were always the light. In this stage, many experience what mystics call the void. It can feel frightening, like free falling into nothingness, but I tell you now, do not fear the void, for it is not empty, it is full of everything. It is the space where the soul breathes, where true freedom lives. The ego fears the void because it cannot survive there, but your soul, it thrives there. I once held onto my identity as a monk tightly. The title, the respect, the robes, but one day, sitting under a stormy sky, I whispered, if even this must go, so be it, and in that moment a lightness entered me. The monk disappeared and the presence remained. Let yourself disappear, beloved one. Let yourself unbecome. You will not be lost. You will be found for the first time. Stage 7, the beginning of transcendence. You were never the name, never the pain, never the body. You are the silent watcher, the deep still water, the eternal witness that has no beginning and no end. The dissolution of ego isn't the end of you, it is the unveiling of the true you. And now, dear traveler, you stand at the door of timelessness. The 8th stage awaits, where space and time bend and your consciousness begins to explore the multi-dimensional layers of being. We will speak of parallel lives, soul echoes, and the moment when past and future collapse into the now. But that, my friend, that is for next step. If this message stirred something ancient within you, subscribe now and journey deeper with me. Comment, I am the sky to anchor your awareness. Practice, sit for 10 minutes today and repeat internally, I am the witness. See what shifts. You've returned, and with your return, we begin to leave the solid behind and step into the fluid nature of reality. Welcome to the 8th stage. Here, you begin to taste the truth that your life is not a line, but a circle, a spiral, a sacred echo across dimensions. This stage is called nonlinear existence and soul echoes. Let us unfold what that means. Time is not what you think it is. You were taught to see time as past, present, future, as a straight road, a story with a beginning, middle, and end. But once the ego dissolves, you no longer sit inside time. You begin to see through it. It is not a road, it is a field. And you, dear traveler, are not walking it. You are the awareness within which all moments arise simultaneously. Parallel lives and the many yous. Have you ever felt déjà vu? Not just as a memory, but as if you've done this before in a dream. You have. Because you're not just living one version of yourself. Right now, there is another version of you. Somewhere in another strand of the universal web, choosing a different path. One version of you is a healer, another a warrior, another still never woke up at all. But here in this timeline, you chose to awaken, to listen, to remember. And that choice sent ripples across the fabric of your soul's field. Soul echoes, hearing your own footsteps before you walk. Have you ever made a choice that felt familiar? Met someone and felt as though you've known them forever? Felt an intense pull toward a place you've never been? These are soul echoes. They are the reverberations of your parallel lives, calling across dimensions, reminding you of the whole you. This is not fiction. It is deep metaphysical truth, known to sages, seers, and mystics since the beginning of memory. The shift from me to multi-me. At first, this may feel overwhelming. How do you live a singular life while carrying infinite versions of yourself? The answer is this: you don't carry them, you allow them. You accept the truth that you are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean, appearing as a drop. I once met a child in a mountain village who said, sometimes when I dream, I'm a king, other times I'm a dog, but it always feels like me. Even the young feel the truth before language ruins it. You are not just a human. You are a multi-dimensional consciousness sampling perspectives through vessels of flesh, time, and perception. A story, The Monk and the Three Lives. In my 34th year, I underwent a silent retreat for 108 days. One evening, near day 80, I entered a deep trance during meditation. Suddenly, I found myself in 3 lives simultaneously. In one, I was a warrior who had failed to protect his village. In another, I was a woman healer tending to her dying Child's in the third, I was me, sitting there in silence. All three were filled with emotion, depth, meaning, and yet, all were just masks of the same awareness. When I returned to my breath, I wept. Not out of sadness, but remembrance. I remembered that I was more than this monk, and so are you. The practice, merging timelines through present sight. You wish to experience the wisdom of your parallel selves. You don't need a time machine. You need presence. Sit in stillness and ask, what part of me have I forgotten? Then wait, let the echoes rise. You may feel joy, sadness, regret, power, welcome them all. These are fragments of your wholeness returning. Breathe them in, allow them to merge. And realize this, you were never missing anything, you were simply hidden from yourself. You are a constellation, not a single star. As we walk the sacred path, you will begin to recognize the beauty of your entire field. You are not meant to live a perfect life, you are meant to live a true one, and truth is layered, multicolored, woven from many threads. This is what the sages meant when they said, I contain multitudes. You are not here to become something, you are here to remember everything you already are. So stop trying to be perfect, be real, be present, be whole. And now, you stand at the threshold of the 9th stage, one where your identity dissolves further and your purpose becomes not just to awaken, but to serve. Because once you've remembered who you are, you begin to guide others back home too. Next step, we'll explore the purpose of the awakened soul, why you returned, what your soul agreed to do, and how your very presence is a living prayer. But that, dear one, is a story for another sunrise. If this journey resonates with your soul's memory, subscribe and keep walking with us. Comment I am the ocean to activate your remembrance. Practice, tonight before sleeping, say aloud, I welcome all versions of me into the light. Then breathe, watch what dreams arrive. You've come far, beloved soul. You have walked through the ashes of your old self. You have peeled away identities, layers, illusions, and now you arrive at the 9th stage. This stage is sacred. It is the bridge between realization and service. It is called the return of the awakened soul, and it begins not with action, but with a simple question, why did you come here? When remembrance meets purpose, awakening is not the final destination, it is only the doorway. To awaken is to see clearly, yes, but what comes next is to embody what you've seen. And what you've seen is this, you are not this body, you are not this name, you are not even this lifetime, you are consciousness in form. You are the formless entering form, to bring light where it had forgotten itself. The agreement before birth. Let me tell you a story, not of a man, but of you. Before you were born into this life, you stood in the presence of light. In that light, you were offered a choice, do you wish to return to earth? And you answered, not with words, but with energy, yes. There is still work to be done. That work was not just survival, success, or even spiritual growth. That work was service. You agreed to hold a certain frequency on this earth, a vibration of truth, compassion, peace, in a world often drowning in fear. And now, having remembered who you are ready to live that agreement. What does service look like? Many people believe to serve means to preach, to lead, to change the world, but service does not always look grand. Sometimes it is simply being the calm in someone else's storm. Sometimes it is listening when no one else does. Sometimes it is saying nothing but being completely present. A soul in service does not seek validation. It does not crave recognition, because it knows deeply that its being is the service. Just like a candle does not scream, look at me, it simply burns, and by doing so, gives light to others. The world needs you now, but not you. The true youth stage reveals something difficult for many. You cannot serve from ego. You cannot serve from wounds. You cannot serve from the desire to be somebody. True service begins the moment you no longer need to be seen, but simply need to give. This is not martyrdom. This is mastery. It is not sacrifice. It is alignment. You, in this state, are no longer you. You become a vessel for the divine intelligence to flow through. A story, the silent midwife. In the hills of Bhutan, there lived a woman who delivered babies. She was not known widely, she wore no title, she spoke little, but when a child was born, she would whisper ancient words into their ear. You are light, you are not this fear. You will forget, but you will return. She did this for over 40 years, and over 3,000 children entered the world with those words. That woman never sought fame, recognition, or validation, but her service echoed across generations. This is how the awakened soul returns to earth, not to conquer, but to whisper truth into sleeping hearts. The call to ask yourself now, what vibration have I come to anchor? Is it peace? Is it clarity? Is it courage? Is it unconditional love? Whatever it is, live it. Let every breath be a prayer. Let your presence shift rooms without speaking. Let your walk become your sermon. Let your life become your legacy. And if you do not know yet, do not rush. The awakened soul is patient. Truth unfolds in its own time. Stay open, and it will find you. The path continues. and widens with each moment of alignment. You draw others near, not because you demand attention, but because your energy feels like home. This is the silent magnetism of the awakened. They remind others of what they forgot, and this is what you are becoming: a reminder, a guidepost, a sacred mirror. And now we prepare for the 10th stage. A stage even more subtle than service, for after the awakened soul returns, something extraordinary happens. It begins to dissolve into oneness, even while living in a body. It becomes the embodiment of stillness, not just in silence, but in motion. Not just in solitude, but even amidst chaos. Next step, we will enter living the stillness in motion, embodying the absolute. But for now, dear one, rest in the knowledge that you are remembered and you have begun the work you came here to do. Breathe this truth in, and if your soul feels called, comment "I am here to serve," to align with your deeper purpose. Subscribe to continue this sacred walk into next step and beyond. Today's practice in silence. Ask, "How may I serve today?" without being seen. Then wait, let life show you, you have returned. And that tells me something about you. You are not seeking entertainment, you are seeking essence. You are not curious, you are called. And now, we step across the threshold into the 10th stage of your divine unfolding, stillness in motion. Embodying the absolute, this stage is paradoxical, it is subtle, it cannot be taught, only lived, but I will speak of it, so your soul may remember what the mind has forgotten. Motion is not the enemy of stillness. Most people believe stillness requires silence. No movement, no noise, no interaction, but that is not the deepest truth. Stillness is not the absence of motion, stillness is the presence of awareness, even as you move. Imagine a river, its surface dances with ripples, but at the bottom, everything is still. You are that river, and now, you are being called to live from the bottom. Even as life flows above, the silent dance of awareness at this stage, something profound shifts. You begin to realize that you are not doing anything. Life is happening through you, the body moves, the breath flows, the words arise. But at the center of all that, you remain untouched. This is living stillness, where you are no longer reacting. You are responding from presence, and often, the most powerful response is no response at all. Only awareness. The story of the invisible master. In the high valleys of Nepal, a group of young seekers were once guided by a master. But this master spoke very little. He never taught from books. He never corrected their mistakes. He simply lived among them. He walked slowly. He cleaned his bowl with care. He listened completely. He ate in silence. At first, the students grew frustrated. They wanted techniques. They wanted results. But over time, they changed. Their breath slowed. Their anger softened. Their movements became precise and effortless. One day, a student asked, "Master, why have you never spoken?" The master smiled and said, "Because you were always watching. That is stillness in motion. Be the stillness that transforms chaos alive. In a world of noise. Noise in our minds, noise in our screens, noise in our hearts. But stillness is the rarest and most sacred vibration left, and when you live it, not perform it, people feel it. You do not have to speak like a monk. You do not have to dress like one. You simply must remember that you are one. A monk is not a role, it is a rhythm. It is the rhythm of one who has dropped ego and now moves from soul. The power of sacred attention. Let me offer you this, the greatest gift you can offer another human being is your full, undivided presence, not advice, not solutions. Just presence. In this world, attention has become currency. But sacred attention, the kind that sees without judging, that is rare. And you, dear one, have that within you now. When you walk into a room, be fully there. When you eat, eat slowly. When you speak, let silence guide the words. This is not about being robotic. This is about becoming rooted. Embodying the absolute in daily life. This 10th stage is not an escape from the world. It is a return to it, transformed. Before, you may have meditated to escape your suffering. Now, meditation becomes your way of entering life deeper. Before, you may have sought silence to feel peace. Now, you carry peace into noise. You become the sky that holds every storm. The space between thoughts, the breath between actions. You are not trying to achieve stillness, you are realizing you already are it. The cosmic stillness. There is a stillness that exists beyond this earth, the stillness of space, of stars, of galaxies in their spiral dances, and that same stillness lives inside you. When you touch it, you stop searching, you stop grasping, you stop fearing, and in that stopping, you start truly living. You are not the mind, you are not the body, you are not the thoughts or feelings. You are the space in which they rise and fall, and that space is your home. In the next stage, something beautiful will unfold. Once you begin living from stillness, you will begin to merge with the universal self. This is the 11th stage, union with the all, dissolving into the infinite. But for now, walk slowly, speak less, breathe deeper, and become the stillness that heals the world without force. Asterisk today's practice, be fully present in one ordinary act, drinking tea, walking, listening. Let it become sacred, no multitasking, just being. If this message touched you, comment below, I am the stillness, let us raise the frequency together. Subscribe and join me again for next step where we dissolve further into the infinite. Welcome back, dear traveler, you have journeyed far. And now the veil thins between you and the infinite. This is the 11th stage, a sacred crossing, union with the all, dissolving into the infinite. Here, the sense of separation melts away like morning mist in the sun. You no longer stand apart from the world, you become one with its breath, its pulse, its essence, the illusion of separation from birth. We are taught to see ourselves as individuals distinct, separate, alone. But this is an illusion, a story told so long and so well that it becomes our reality. In truth, you are a fragment of the whole, a wave in the ocean of existence, a star in the vast cosmic sky. And this stage invites you to feel that unity. Not just understand it, the burning away of ego at this point on your path. The ego, the voice that says I am separate, begins to burn away. This is painful and beautiful all at once, old identities, old attachments, old fears. They dissolve in the fire of pure awareness. I remember a moment in my early days of solitude, when I sat by a quiet river, watching my reflection shimmer and change with the water's flow. Suddenly, the reflection blurred and disappeared. For a moment, I felt no I, only the river, the sky, and the wind. That moment was terrifying and freeing. It was the moment I first touched union, this sacred merging in this stage. You stop asking, who am I, because you realize you are everything. You are the mountain and the valley, the bird and the sky, the silence and the song. Your consciousness expands beyond the limits of your body. You experience yourself as a thread woven into the vast tapestry of life. This is not an escape from reality, it is a deeper reality. Living union in the world. How do you live this union in everyday life? You live it through compassion, through seeing others not as separate beings, but as reflections of yourself. Every act of kindness becomes an offering to the whole. Every breath is shared. Every moment is a chance to reconnect. A story of the celestial Merkle. Long ago, a humble monk lived in a village torn by conflict. He walked among the people with gentle eyes and open hands. One day, a fierce warrior challenged him, questioning his silence and seeming passivity. The monk replied, when I see the battle, I do not see the enemy. I see myself reflected in every face. Over time, the warrior's anger softened, and peace slowly returned. The invitation to surrender. This stage calls for surrender, not to defeat, but to flow. Surrendering to the truth that you are part of the whole, and the whole is part of you. It requires humility and courage. The courage to let go of control, the humility to accept mystery. Embracing the infinite self. You are no longer a lone traveler. You are the infinite self experiencing itself in many forms. And this realization brings profound peace, a peace that does not depend on circumstances because it rests in the eternal. Practice for union. Today, practice seeing beyond boundaries. Look at a tree, a friend, a stranger, and quietly remind yourself, you are me and I am you. Feel that truth ripple through your heart. In the next and final stage, you will dissolve all divisions and realize the pure essence that has always been within you. The 12th stage, pure consciousness, beyond form, beyond thought. Until then, rest in the knowing that you are not alone. You are the universe itself, breathing, expanding. Alive. Today's reflection. In moments of separation, pause and remember your connection to all. Let compassion and unity guide you. Comment I am one if you feel the call of the infinite within you. Subscribe and prepare for next step, the culmination of our sacred journey. Welcome, dear seeker, to the final threshold of this sacred journey. You have traveled through veils of identity, shadow, and self-awareness. Now, you stand before the 12th and ultimate stage, pure consciousness, beyond form, beyond thought. This is where the journey transcends all journeys, where the essence of who you truly are shines forth, not as a concept, not as an image, but as pure being itself. The silence beyond all noise. Imagine a silence so profound, it is not merely the absence of sound, but a presence, a stillness alive with potential. A vast openness where thought dissolves like mist at dawn. In this silence, your sense of I and other melts away. There is no observer and no observed, only the infinite now, undivided whole. The essence of pure being. At this stage, you no longer identify with your body, your mind, or your past. You recognize yourself as the very fabric of existence, the uncaused cause, the silent witness, the eternal presence. The river no longer flows to the ocean. You are the ocean itself. The flame no longer burns in the lantern. You are the light itself. Letting go of all grasping. This stage asks for complete surrender. To release all attachments, all desires for control, all clinging to identity or achievement. You enter a state beyond duality. where even the desire to awaken disappears. You are simply pure consciousness, aware of itself, a story from the void. Remember a day many years ago when I sat in deep meditation and all thoughts ceased. No self remained to hold onto. I was neither the monk, nor the breath, nor the body, only a vast, boundless presence. In that moment, time stopped. Space vanished, only pure being remained, timeless, infinite, whole. That moment did not last long, but it changed everything. Living as pure consciousness, you may wonder, how does one live in this state amidst the world's noise? The answer is simple yet profound. You live as a clear mirror, reflecting life without distortion. You act from a place of deep stillness and infinite love. You are no longer a reactive wave, but the calm ocean beneath. Your actions become spontaneous, wise, and compassionate, flowing naturally from your true nature. The great mystery of pure consciousness is a mystery beyond explanation, but it is not distant or inaccessible. It is the ground beneath your feet, the breath within your lungs, the light that dawns in your heart. It is who you were always meant to be. Practice to touch pure consciousness. It quietly, breathe deeply, let go of your story, your roles, your expectations. Rest in the space between thoughts. Feel the presence that witnesses all. Know that this presence is you, eternal, boundless, free. You have reached the summit of the inner mountain, but the path of awakening is endless, ever deepening, ever expanding. In the next pages, we will explore how to integrate this awakening into daily life, how to walk the world as pure consciousness without losing your feet on the ground. Today's reflection: the essence of your being is pure awareness, beyond form, beyond thought. Rest in that truth. Comment I am pure if you feel the light of consciousness within you. Subscribe and stay with me as we continue beyond this awakening and next step. The journey continues. Dear soul, each step forward is a dance between mystery and clarity, between infinite sky and rooted earth. When you're ready, return, and we will walk the path further. Welcome back, traveler. You have touched the boundless light of pure consciousness. Now, the question arises, how do we live this awakening in the world of form? This is the great dance of integration, where the infinite meets the finite, where spirit walks hand in hand with the everyday, embracing the human experience. You are pure consciousness. You are still embodied, still a human moving through life's joys and challenges. This stage invites you to hold both truths at once, the timeless and the temporal, the infinite and the immediate. You are the vast sky, and you are the breeze that stirs the trees, the balance between stillness and action. One of the most profound lessons I have learned is this: to awaken fully is not to escape the world, but to engage with it from a place of calm, clear awareness. Your actions become deliberate, infused with compassion, not driven by fear or craving. This balance between stillness and movement, silence and speech, being and doing, is the hallmark of walking as pure consciousness. Anecdote: the monk and the marketplace. Let me share a story from my own journey. One day, I walked through a bustling marketplace, noisy and chaotic. People hurried past, absorbed in their worries and desires. I noticed a woman arguing loudly with a merchant, frustration in her eyes. Instead of turning away, I approached quietly and offered a smile without words. A moment of peace passed between us, a shared breath of calm in the storm. She softened, the tension melted, and her anger eased. This simple act reminded me, even amidst chaos, pure consciousness can shine through, touching hearts and healing divides. Practice of mindful presence. Practice bringing your attention fully into the present moment. Notice the sensations of your body, the sounds around you, the rhythm of your breath. When challenges arise, remember you are not your thoughts or emotions. You are the awareness observing them. From this space, respond with kindness and clarity. Living with purpose and compassion. Walking as pure consciousness is not passive. It is the foundation of meaningful action. Your purpose unfolds naturally. When you act from stillness, you become a beacon of peace, a channel for love, a quiet force transforming your corner of the world. Wisdom to carry forward. Remember, you are a sacred being, part of the great web of life. Your presence matters. Your light touches others. Your awakening ripples beyond your sight. Cultivate patience with yourself. Integration is a process, not a destination. Daily invitation. Today, walk with awareness. Let each step remind you, I am here, I am awake, I am one with all. The path stretches onward. In the next page, we will explore the challenges that arise on this journey, the shadows that test your light, and the wisdom to transform them. Reflection for today: integration is a dance of balance. Hold both the infinite and the everyday with grace. Comment I walk awake if you choose to walk your life as pure consciousness. Subscribe and prepare to journey deeper into transformation and next step. The journey flows like a river, sometimes calm, sometimes wild, always moving toward deeper truth. Welcome back, dear traveler. As you walk the path of awakening, You will encounter shadows, the darker parts of yourself and life that test your light. These challenges are not obstacles to run from, but invitations to deepen your understanding and compassion. The shadows. We all every seeker, every awakened soul, must face the parts of themselves that feel uncomfortable or hidden: fear, anger, doubt, sorrow. These are not enemies but messengers, signaling where healing is needed. Ignoring shadows only allows them to grow. Embracing them with awareness transforms their power. The monk's story, meeting his own shadow many years ago. I was gripped by a deep sense of loneliness and fear. I resisted these feelings, trying to stay in light and peace, but the shadows crept in anyway, in dreams, in silent moments, in unexpected bursts of emotion. One night, I sat in meditation and welcomed the darkness without judgment. I let the fear speak, let the loneliness weep. In that acceptance, the shadows softened. They became teachers, guiding me to greater compassion for myself and for others. Transformation through acceptance path is not to banish shadows, but to walk with them hand in hand. When fear arises, say, I see you, I feel you, and I will not run. When anger comes, respond with calm presence. When doubt whispers, listen with gentle curiosity. This is the alchemy of awakening, turning darkness into light through awareness and love. Practice shadow meditation. Find a quiet space. Close your eyes and breathe deeply. Invite any shadow feeling to come forward without resistance or fear. Observe it with kindness. Ask, what do you need from me? What wisdom do you carry? Let your heart be an open space where even the darkest parts can find rest. Lessons from the shadow. Through embracing your shadows, you will gain greater emotional resilience, deeper self-love, a clearer understanding of your true nature. You become whole, not by perfection, but by integration. A call to courage. It takes courage to face yourself fully, but this courage births freedom. Freedom from the chains of denial, fear, and separation. You are not alone in this journey. The shadows are part of the human experience, yet you are so much more than just human. Remember, dear one, every shadow holds a seed of light, waiting to bloom when tended with care. Reflection for today: embrace your shadows as teachers on the path to pure consciousness. Comment I embrace if you are ready to walk with your shadows. Subscribe and join me in next step as we continue to uncover deeper wisdom on this journey. Welcome once again, dear traveler. You have learned to face your shadows with courage, and now the path leads us to the heart, awakening compassion. The radiant core of true transformation. Compassion is not simply kindness or sympathy. It is the profound recognition of our shared experience, the understanding that every being carries their own struggles, joys, and longings. Compassion as the bridge. When you move beyond judgment and separation, you touch the essence of pure consciousness, a space where all distinctions soften and the heart opens wide like the sky. Compassion becomes the bridge connecting you to yourself, to others, and to the vast mystery of life. Anecdote: the monk and the wounded bird. Let me share a simple story. Once, I found a small bird with a broken wing near the monastery. It fluttered helplessly on the ground, eyes wide with fear. Instead of turning away, I knelt down and held my hand out gently. I whispered softly, offering calm and presence. Over time, the bird grew stronger and learned to fly again. That moment taught me compassion is not about fixing or controlling, but about being fully present with the suffering, holding space for healing to unfold naturally. Practice heart-opening geek day. Take a moment to breathe deeply and feel the warmth in your chest. Visualize this warmth expanding beyond yourself, reaching all beings near and far. When you encounter someone struggling, be it in anger, sadness, or pain, offer them your presence, your kindness, your understanding. Transformation through compassion compass transforms not only others but your own spirit. It dissolves isolation, replaces fear with connection, and anchors you firmly in the flow of life. It is the living expression of pure consciousness in action, the essence of your awakening. Remember, awakening is not a solitary achievement. It is a blossoming heart that embraces all existence. Your journey is the journey of all beings, and compassion is the light guiding your way. Let your heart be a lantern in the night, shining brightly for yourself and others. Reflection for today: compassion is the heart's awakening, the light that connects and heals. Comment my heart opens if you are ready to walk the path of compassionate awareness. Subscribe and stay with me for next step, where we will explore the power of presence and living fully in each moment. Welcome back, dear seeker. We have journeyed through shadows, embraced compassion, and now we arrive at a profound truth: the power of presence. Presence is the foundation of awakening. It is the simple yet profound act of being fully here, right now, in this moment, without distraction, without resistance. Presence, the gateway to life. So often, our minds are caught in the past or the future, worrying about what was or what might be. But life unfolds only in the present, the precious now that is both fleeting and eternal. When you cultivate presence, you open the door to true freedom and peace. Anecdote: the monks. Lesson from a Choldi once met a child who was utterly absorbed in playing with a single leaf. She watched it dance in the breeze, her eyes wide with wonder. In that moment, she taught me a powerful lesson. Presence is not something to be achieved. It is something to be remembered and reclaimed. Practice presence meditation. Sit quietly and focus on your breath. Notice the sensation of air entering and leaving your body. When your mind wanders, gently bring it back to your breath. Allow yourself to fully experience this moment, the sounds, the sensations, the flow of life around you. The impact of presence on your life grounds you in reality, freeing you from anxiety and regret. It enhances your relationships, your creativity, your clarity. Through presence, you begin to see life as it truly is: rich, vibrant, and deeply meaningful. Dear one, presence is the gift you give yourself every moment. It is the path from mere existence to full living. Reflection for today: life is lived fully only in the present moment. Comment: I am here if you are ready to embrace presence in your daily life. Subscribe and join me for next step, where we will explore surrender, the art of letting go and trusting the flow. Welcome back, dear traveler. We've explored presence, the art of being fully here and now. Today, we step deeper into a sacred truth: surrender. Surrender is not defeat. It is not giving up or resignation. True surrender is the courageous act of letting go, releasing control, and trusting the natural flow of life. Surrender, the flow of life, consider the river before us. It does not resist the rocks or bend in its path. Instead, it moves gracefully around obstacles, continuing forward with effortless ease. This is surrender. When we stop clinging tightly to outcomes, we allow life to unfold in its own perfect timing. Anecdote: the monk and the stormins. During a violent storm, I sought shelter under an ancient tree. At first, I tried to shield myself from the rain, but soon realized my efforts were futile. So, I relaxed and surrendered to the storm's rhythm. I felt the rain soak through my robes, the wind on my skin, and in that moment of acceptance, a deep peace rose within me. Practice surrendering to the moment. Begin by noticing where you resist, perhaps a situation, a feeling, or a desire to control. Breathe deeply and invite yourself to release that tension. Say silently: I surrender. I trust the flow. Allow your body and mind to soften, to relax into the unfolding mystery of life. The freedom in letting go. Surrender frees you from the prison of expectations, the burden of trying to force life's outcomes. It invites you to move with grace, to find peace in uncertainty, and to align with your highest path. Remember, dear one, surrender is an act of trust, a sacred dance between effort and ease. Reflection for today: true strength lies in the willingness to surrender and trust life's flow. Comment: I surrender if you are ready to release control and embrace trust. Subscribe and prepare for next step, where we will explore the awakening of intuition, your inner compass on the path. Our journey continues, one breath at a time, unfolding with grace. Welcome back, fellow seeker. Having embraced surrender, we now turn inward to a subtle yet powerful guide: your intuition. Intuition is the whisper of your soul, the quiet knowing that arises beyond thought, beyond logic. It is your inner compass, leading you along the path of truth and alignment. Intuition, listening to the soul's whisper. Many dismiss intuition as mere feeling or guesswork, but it is far more than that. It is the voice of pure consciousness within you, always present, always speaking, if you are willing to listen. Anecdote: the monk and the quiet voicians. Faced with a difficult choice, I sat silently in meditation, seeking clarity. No answers came through thought or advice, only a soft, persistent feeling deep in my heart. I trusted that quiet voice, and the path that unfolded was unexpected but true. That moment taught me to honor intuition as sacred wisdom. Practice cultivating intuition. Sit in stillness each day and ask yourself, what is my heart truly saying? Breathe deeply and quiet your mind. Notice the subtle sensations, images, or feelings that arise. Trust them without judgment. Over time, your intuition will grow stronger, guiding you with gentle certainty. Intuition as your guide. When you cultivate your intuition, you navigate life with greater ease and confidence. You move in harmony with your authentic self, making decisions that nourish your soul. Remember, dear one, your intuition is always with you, a sacred guide lighting your way through darkness and doubt. Reflection for today: trust your inner compass. It is the voice of your higher self. Comment: I listen if you are ready to awaken and trust your intuition. Subscribe and join me for next step, where we will explore the unfolding of wisdom, the fruit of your journey. Welcome back, dear traveler. You have come far on this sacred path, and now we arrive at a stage both profound and beautiful: the unfolding of wisdom. Wisdom is not simply knowledge accumulated, nor is it the cleverness of the mind. It is the deep understanding born from lived experience, from the heart's transformation. Wisdom, the fruit of experience, like a tree that matures through seasons of sun and storm, so too does your soul grow through joy and hardship. Wisdom blossoms when you learn to see beyond appearances. When you recognize the interconnectedness of all things, it is the gentle knowing that all things are impermanent, and that love and compassion are the roots of true peace. Anecdote: the monk and the falling leaf. Fonts as autumn painted the world in gold, I watched a single leaf detach from its branch. Rather than resist its fall, the leaf surrendered to the wind's embrace, finding freedom and release. This leaf taught me that wisdom often comes when we let go of attachment, when we allow life to flow naturally without grasping. Practice embodying wisdom. Reflect on your life's journey. Where have you grown? Where have you let go? Allow these reflections to deepen your understanding. Practice compassion for yourself and for others, knowing that each step, even the difficult ones, contribute to your unfolding wisdom. Wisdom in daily life. Wisdom shapes your responses, transforming challenges into opportunities for growth. It nurtures patience, humility, and clarity. It reminds you that you are never alone, that the universe moves through you with infinite grace. Dear one, wisdom is the radiant fruit of your journey, a light to guide you and those around you. Reflection for today: wisdom grows from experience, acceptance, and compassion. Comment: I am wise if you honor the lessons your life has brought. Subscribe and prepare for next step, where we will explore the power of compassion, the heart of true consciousness. Welcome back, cherished soul. Today we arrive at the heart of true consciousness, compassion. Compassion is more than kindness. It is the awakening of the heart's profound connection to all life. When you awaken compassion, you awaken the divine in yourself. Compassion, the bridge to unity. Compassion breaks down walls of separation. It is the understanding that every being, no matter their path or story, shares the same fundamental desire to be happy, to be free from suffering. When you hold this truth deeply, your heart opens and love flows naturally, effortlessly. Anecdote: the monk and the wounded bird. Once, I found a wounded bird struggling on a cold morning. Instead of turning away, I cradled it gently in my hands. In that simple act, I felt the oneness of life, the fragility and resilience intertwined. That moment taught me that compassion is not passive, but an active force that heals and unites. Practice cultivating compassion. Begin by directing compassion inward. Honor your struggles and mistakes with tenderness, then extend that warmth outward to those you love and even to those you find difficult. When faced with anger or fear, pause and breathe deeply. See the humanity in others and yourself. Compassion as pure consciousness. Commissions is the flowering of consciousness itself. It dissolves ego boundaries, revealing the interconnected web of life. Through compassion, you awaken not just to yourself, but to the sacredness of all existence. Dear traveler, compassion is the highest path, the pulse of pure consciousness, beating within us all. Reflection for today: open your heart and let compassion guide your every step. Comment: I am love if you choose to walk the path of compassion. Subscribe and prepare for next step, where we will explore the final stages, the transcendence into pure consciousness. Our journey moves closer to its luminous peak. Welcome back, beloved seeker. We now stand on the threshold of transcendence, the stage where all separation dissolves and you awaken to pure consciousness itself. This is the ultimate realization, where you no longer identify as human alone, but as the boundless awareness in which all life flows. Transcendence, the dissolution of self. At this stage, the constructs of ego, the I and mine, begin to dissolve. You experience yourself as the vast, timeless presence that permeates everything. It is not a loss, but a profound gaining, the gaining of infinite freedom and peace. Anecdote: the monk and the mirror lake. I gazed into a perfectly still lake, its surface so clear it reflected the sky without distortion. In that moment, I saw that the lake and sky were not separate, just as my awareness and the world are one seamless whole. This insight marked my entry into pure consciousness, a state beyond form, beyond thought. Practice surrendering to present. Shadow approach this stage. Practice surrender, not as giving up, but as allowing yourself to be fully present without resistance or judgment. In meditation, observe thoughts and feelings as passing clouds, while resting in the sky of awareness behind them, the freedom of pure consciousness. You find freedom from suffering, because suffering depends on identification with transient forms. Pure consciousness is timeless, boundless, and always present, your true nature. Dear one, this transcendence is not distant or rare. It is the essence of who you are beneath all layers. Remember, you are never limited to being human. You are the luminous presence itself. Reflection for today: rest in the awareness that is always here, beyond all form. Comment: I am present if you feel the call of pure consciousness within. Subscribe and prepare for next step, where we explore embodying this awakening in everyday life. Welcome back, radiant traveler. Having touched the boundless essence of pure consciousness, we now turn to a vital stage, embodying this awakening in daily life. Awakening is not just a moment of insight, but a lifelong journey of integration, bringing the infinite into the everyday. Embodiment, bringing light into life. True awakening radiates through your actions, your words, your presence. It is the living expression of your deepest truth. This means living with awareness, kindness, and authenticity even in the simplest moments. Anecdote, the monk and the cup of tea. Recall a morning when I shared tea with a fellow seeker. As we poured and drank, we practiced being fully present, not rushing, not distracted. In that simple act, the ordinary became sacred. This taught me that embodying consciousness means honoring the sacred in every breath. Practice mindful living. Begin by cultivating mindfulness, awareness of your thoughts, emotions, and sensations as they arise. Let this awareness guide you to respond rather than react. Choose compassion and patience for yourself and others. Live with gratitude, and let presence be your compass. The harmony of awakened life. As you embody awakening, you become a beacon of peace and light. Your life, no matter how simple or complex, reflects the boundless consciousness within. You move through the world with grace, grounded yet expansive, free yet deeply connected. Dear soul, the journey does not end with awakening, it blossoms as you live it each day, transforming every moment into a doorway to the infinite. Reflection for today: how can you bring more presence and compassion into your daily life? Comment I am awake if you commit to living consciously and fully. Subscribe and prepare for next step, where we explore the final revelations. The union with all that is. Welcome once more, luminous soul. Our journey approaches its sacred culmination, the ultimate union with all that is. At this stage, the sense of separateness fully dissolves. You do not merely witness the world. You become the world. You are the river, the mountain, the sky, and the stars. Union, the melting of boundaries. Sure, the boundaries between self and other vanish completely. No longer is there I or you, only the infinite flow of existence. This is not a concept to grasp with the mind, but a living reality to be felt in the heart and body. Anecdote, the monk and the river. Songoni evening, as I sat by a flowing river, I felt myself dissolve into its current. I was no longer separate. I was the water, the song, the journey itself. In that moment, I knew to be one with all is to be free beyond all measure. Practice, surrender to the Hue-Man. Embrace the practice of surrender, not as losing yourself, but as merging fully with the vastness of life. In meditation, imagine yourself expanding beyond your body, merging with the earth beneath, the sky above, all beings and moments around you. Feel the pulse of life flowing through you and all things. Living the unity, living as one with all, brings profound peace and joy. It frees you from fear, from loneliness, from the illusions of control. You move through life as a conscious wave in the ocean of eternal being. Dear traveler, this union is your true nature, timeless, boundless, eternal. You are never just human, you are the essence of all that is. Reflection for today: feel into the unity beneath all appearances. Comment I am one if you sense the one is within. Subscribe and prepare for next step, where we will gently bring this profound journey towards its luminous completion. Welcome back, radiant being. We have walked together through the 12 sacred stages, from the human illusion to the vastness of pure consciousness. And now we arrive at the luminous completion. This final stage is about integration, bringing the wisdom, the awakening, the union into the fullness of your everyday living. Integration, being the awakened one. True enlightenment is not an escape from life, but a deep, loving engagement with it. You carry the light of consciousness in every step, every breath, every glance. You are the awakened one, not in isolation, but as part of the dance of life. Anecdote, the monk and the child's laughter. On afternoon, as I meditated in the garden, a child's laughter rang out clearly. In that pure joy, I saw the essence of integration, awakening expressed simply, naturally, in the flow of life's smallest miracles. Practice, daily embrace of the presento. Embody this final stage. Return often to presence. Let your heart be open, your mind clear, and your actions aligned with love. Celebrate your humanity as the beautiful vessel for the eternal consciousness you are. Final words of wisdom. Remember, dear soul, you were never just human, you are the infinite, the boundless light, the consciousness behind all things. Live with this truth shining in you and share it gently with the world. Thank you for journeying with me through these stages. May your path be filled with peace, insight, and love. Reflection for today: how will you carry this awakening into the world? Comment I am light if you feel ready to live fully as your true self. Subscribe, share this journey, and prepare to receive the final reflections in our closing conversation. Dear traveler, you have journeyed far and wide within yourself. Traverse the 12 sacred stages from human illusion to the pure light of consciousness. Now, as this chapter closes, let us rest in the timeless truth that has been revealed. You are never confined By flesh or form, your true nature is infinite awareness, the eternal flame that burns beyond time and space. The eternal journey awakening is not an end but a beginning, an ever-unfolding dance of presence and becoming. You are both the dancer and the dance, the wave in the ocean, the drop in the sea. This path is yours to walk freely with courage, humility, and boundless love. A final story: the monk in the starlight o' night beneath the vast cosmos. I looked up and saw countless stars twinkling, each a reminder that we are fragments of the infinite. In that silence, I felt an unbreakable connection. To the stars, to the earth, to every heartbeat. This is your truth too. You are a radiant spark of the divine, forever luminous, forever free. Your practice moving forward, carry this truth gently in your heart. In moments of doubt, return to your breath, the bridge between the finite and the infinite. Live with compassion, speak with kindness, and act with conscious awareness. Closing wisdom: remember, the journey from Hue-Man to pure consciousness is the awakening of the soul, a sacred unfolding that continues beyond this lifetime. You are never alone. The light within you is connected to all that ever was, all that is, and all that will be. Thank you for walking this path with me. May your life be a beacon of peace, a testament to the infinite light you carry. Final reflection: how will you honor your eternal nature today and every day? Share your thoughts below. Your awakening inspires others. Subscribe and share this journey with those ready to awaken. May peace, love, and boundless consciousness accompany you always. If you wish to revisit any stage or deepen your practice, I am here to walk alongside you. Until then, live fully, live awakened, and know you were never just human.